This offseason has been an absolute failure for the Miami Heat. At this point, unless something drastically changes, I can't imagine there are many that would push back against that. But the way the front office is trying to hide behind Jimmy Butler, again, is flat out embarrassing. It's beneath the Heat. According to a latest report that gave insight into the Heat's offseason plan, the front office doesn't believe it was able to gauge the roster during the second half of the season properly because of Jimmy. Their argument is that the Jimmy bomb forced players into roles they weren't comfortable with. They also point out untimely injuries as a reason why running it back was suddenly back on the table for Miami. In other words, the front office is trying to use Jimmy as their excuse for their offseason inactivity. Let's not beat around the bush. But, and with all due respect to the front office, that makes little sense. At his end-of-the-season press conference, Pat Riley said that the Heat's roster wasn't good enough and that changes were on the horizon. Through the 2025 NBA draft and the frenzy that was the start of NBA free agency, the Heat have done next to nothing.
Why?
It doesn't add up. What really took place behind the scenes? Something had to have happened behind the scenes in Miami that dramatically altered their offseason approach. I'm not sure if it was the fact that they truly believed they were going to land KD and it just didn't happen, or if there's something deeper and bigger that took place that no one knows about. Either way, it does feel as if there was a flip in philosophies from the front office. Riley wouldn't have paraded around preaching change if it simply wasn't going to happen. And no, I'm pretty sure a sign-in trade of Duncan Robinson was not the change that Riley was hinting at. Nevertheless, this is a poor look from the Heat. Even though I'm not sure anyone expected them to flatly come out and say they miscalculated their offseason moves and take complete blame. Riley is too proud a man to do that. In fact, most executives in the league are. While there may be some truth to the idea that Jimmy nuked last season, that shouldn't continue to be used as an excuse for the Heat's offseason failures. And that's exactly what this feels like. If the Heat explored potential moves and couldn't get anything done, fine. Just say that. Don't keep trying to blame others for your failures. The fan base can see right through it. The front office may have gotten away with it before, but not this time. They can't. They shouldn't. Miami Heat fans are growing impatient with the front office's lack of moves, especially after team president Pat Riley claimed the organization would avoid running it back. One route that would immediately silence complaints from the public is to trade for the most talented player in Heat history. This, of course, is none other than 21-time All-Star and 4-time NBA champion LeBron James. No one expected James to be anywhere near the trade block entering the offseason. However, the Los Angeles Lakers shifting their attention to the Luka Doncic era could lead to James finishing his career out elsewhere. PFSN linked James to the Heat in a piece listing the top 5 potential trade destinations for him. The Heat were joined by the Cleveland Cavaliers, Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs, and Denver Nuggets in this article of landing spots. Though the Miami Heat were swept in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs by the Cavaliers, they have a nice duo in guard Tyler Herro and big man Bam Adebayo. Where they're lacking is on the wing, as they struggled to get production from that spot once Butler was traded away, the article shared. Enter James, who would once again get to live in Miami and be coached by one of the game's best head coaches in Eric Spoelstra. Reports suggest there isn't a huge number of teams that would pursue a blockbuster deal for James, meaning the Heat could throw a relatively low offer at the Lakers. The possible trade return for LA would also be lower than expected because James opted into the final year of his contract, which comes in at $52 million. After that, there's no telling what his future in the league looks like, so it's potentially a one-year rental for Miami. A trio of James, Herro, and Adebayo could seriously contend in a weak Eastern Conference, but Miami also isn't the most established contender at the moment. It's worth noting James still needs to request a trade and express willingness in joining the Heat for this scenario to become even close to a reality. After franchise cornerstone Jimmy Butler was dealt to the Golden State Warriors, Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro struggled to keep the Miami Heat afloat. They dragged the Heat to a playoff appearance before being swept by the number 1 seed Cleveland Cavaliers. The early exit prompted team president Pat Riley to go on record claiming the team won't run it back, but no major moves have occurred thus far. Miami's fanbase is justifiably growing impatient, But a bold decision from an Eastern Conference contender could change that. The Milwaukee Bucks are reportedly waiving 9-time All-Star Damian Lillard to sign star center Miles Turner. The Heat and Lillard are no strangers to each other, as there's been mutual interest for years. Clutch Points linked Lillard to the Heat after Milwaukee's surprise action, naming Miami as a top landing spot for the 34-year-old. When the Heat pursued Lillard in the 2023 offseason, it was a no-brainer to push to acquire him. Miami was fresh off an NBA Finals appearance, while Lillard was coming off a 32.2 points per game campaign. Fast forward to the 2025 offseason, and it's no longer so simple. Lillard is in the midst of recovering from a torn Achilles, which very few players at his age have performed the same after. It's also tough to say whether or not the former Rookie of the Year elevates a core led by Harrow and Adebayo to title contention as the number one option. Lillard is still seeking the first championship of his career, but Miami may no longer be the place to pursue this goal.